Very interesting article on Sports Illustrated that caught my attention this week that I'm excited to talk to you about, Cart. It's about our guy, Braden Smith, or as my daughter calls him, Uncle Braden, when she flips through my Final Four magazine from last year. Anyways, Braden Smith. This article by Killian Wright for Sports Illustrated's NBA draft site is entitled 2026 NBA Draft: How Braden Smith Can Beat the Odds. History isn't on the side of the Purdue point guard, but he could become an exception. You go on to read the article, and it basically spells out that since the 2015 NBA Draft, there are only 15 college players listed at 6 feet tall or shorter that have been drafted. But out of those 15, Cart, only one player in the last decade has been drafted as a 6 foot or shorter senior. And that would be Frank Mason, who was the National Player of the Year back in 2017. If Braden Smith is to be drafted next year, he would be the first 6 foot or smaller guard since Kennedy Chandler to be taken, who was taken back in 2022. So just being as small as he is listed alone is typically an obstacle pretty preventative of good players making the NBA. But the added element of being a senior, someone who completed your 4 years in college. We know that age is a topic that can be divisive in NBA draft circles. You certainly have a better chance of getting drafted the younger that you declare for the draft. As you get older, you do not become a commodity for teams. And the reality is, Braden Smith, as good as he is going to try to be the first player listed as 6 foot or shorter to play 4 years in college and then be selected in the NBA draft in 8 seasons. And it was a National Player of the Year, Frank Mason, who was the last to do it. I think throughout the last couple of months, anytime draft stock comes up, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you and I are in the camp that like Braden's getting drafted.
Yeah.
He's on mock boards. Like it does not seem like it would be a surprise at this point for Braden Smith to get drafted.
It'd
So
be a surprise if he didn't get drafted.
does any of this research scare you at all? Does the fact that this is so rare for a player of his archetype mean anything to you in a negative sense for his draft stock?
Um, I guess not really. Just because I think that it's very clear what Braden is and very clear what Braden does. And also, like you mentioned, the other point guards that are in the same mold as him. I guess not the same mold, but like the under 6 foot guys that get drafted. Those are two guys whose games are just very different from Braden's, right? Like Frank Mason was a more of a scorer than anything. Honestly, I was a big time Kennedy Chandler guy. I was surprised he didn't work out in the NBA more so. Um, but no, I think that Braden's game is very much conducive, even given his limitations, I guess, with his size on what he does. He's a guy that can pass the ball extremely well. He can also score for himself, but his passing is one of his best attributes. Passing, competitiveness, all that are things that I think will, get him drafted and keep him on an NBA roster.
Yeah, I'll be honest. The way this is framed scared me a little bit just because in my head it hasn't really been up for debate. He's going to be drafted.
Yeah.
So to even have like any publication, let alone one as, I don't know, as prestigious as Sports Illustrated, kind of come on record and say, hey, if he's going to be drafted, he has to do something that really rarely gets done. Like that's scary for me to hear it out loud, you know?
Something's always rarely done until someone special comes along.
Well, that's the flip here is thank you to Killian, the author of this article, because this is going to look great on a boiler ball graphic the moment that Braden gets drafted.
Yeah, can I also do the classic thing here too?
Yeah.
Boy, beat the odds. This dude was 5'10", two-star recruit with bleach blonde hair. And now he's one of the best point guards in Big Ten history. The odds have been beaten.
Why do you always say he had bleach blonde hair? Did I miss that era for Braden?
Dog, I'm pretty sure that he had blonde hair.
Yeah, okay.
Like I'm
I,
talking about like we're soaring, we're breaking free, like type hair.
I don't recall this. Also, I'm pretty sure you haven't watched High School Musical if you're
Wow.
comparing Zac Efron's hair to Braden Smith's hair.
I was saying more so in volume and style.
It's not the same at all. Braden's had a buzz. He didn't have a mop top.
He, no, I feel like you need to brush up on your Braden history.
Maybe show me the pics. Give me the history if so. Um, all right, let me play host here and try to throw an example at you and see if this adds any concern to you for Braden's draft stock. Who do you think he was most like in last year's draft class? Is there any player that entered the draft that you would say is similar in archetype?
That entered it.
Yep, there's one that comes to mind for me. 6 foot, elite passer, guy that played 4 years in college.
Nembhard.
Ryan Nembhard.
Yeah,
Ryan Nembhard, who, by the way, at the combine was destroying the scrimmages. Like Ryan Nembhard, from reports that I don't know, people we trust that were there, said Ryan Nembhard was one of the biggest winners of the combine. Ryan Nembhard, who, let's just be real about the situation, as this was unfolding, his older brother was shining in the NBA playoffs. So all things this summer pointed and trended upward toward Ryan Nembhard getting drafted. He was phenomenal at the combine, 6 foot, elite passing guard. His brother literally has the DNA of one of the best players in the playoffs. Like, it's a no-brainer. Everybody would have thought it was a no-brainer he'd get picked. He didn't get picked. So, like, look, Ryan Nembhard's not as good as Braden Smith. Point blank, he's not. But I do think, like, this is a reminder that the height plus age combo being what it is for Braden a year from now is a pretty big hurdle because people were surprised that Ryan Nembhard didn't get selected. And look, Ryan Nembhard's still going to have opportunities in the NBA. Sometimes we know this on record. Sometimes it's better to go undrafted than be selected like in the 50s because you can kind of weasel your way to the situation you want to get to, end up getting a two-way and go from there. I'm very confident no matter how it ends on draft night, Braden Smith is going to be an NBA player for a long time. I'm talking like a second contract guy. But this is scary for me to hear out loud. I still lean on the side that Braden's going to do it, and Boiler Ball will make a great looking graphic about it. But I don't like the fact that this is like being reported as news in August of like the odds are against our guy Braden Smith. I don't like that.
yeah, they're also just not.
What would you set right now the odds, be the odds maker, Braden Smith to get drafted in the 2026 NBA draft? Yes versus no.
Minus 550.
Wow, so big favorite that he will.
Yeah, have you seen? Did you see? I mean, we did the draft show. We did the. I'm still pretty positive there was guys drafted in the second round who aren't real people.
This is true. But NBA teams falling in love with guys who aren't real people from Lithuania, I don't think bodes well for a 22-year-old star 6 foot point guard.
Yeah, but also like first team All American, assist guy, Cybertruck.
Cybertruck is big. You're right. And like let's add the other element that's very honest about this. I wouldn't bet against Braden Smith ever.
Yeah, and secondly, hold on a goddamn second here. How many draft picks are the Pacers gonna have next year? Because they'll burn. Was it Gainsbridge?
Gainbridge Fieldhouse,
Yeah,
correct.
they'll burn that bitch to the ground if
Yeah.
they let Braden go undrafted.
Yeah. Okay. What's more likely, Braden Smith first round selection next year or Braden Smith undrafted?
Why that you answer that?
I love finding angles to back you into a corner.
Well, stop before I punch you.
I'm
I'm not
surprised you
answering.
wouldn't just say first round. I think he's mocked in the first round, according
Is
to some
he?
mocks. Yeah, I think.
Is he? I don't. The mock drafts nowadays really got me in a tizzy.
Where's he mocked in your Carter Elliott mock draft, which doesn't exist and is just being built in your head right now?
37th.
Feels too low.